All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Altcoin Daily. My name's Austin. Very pleased to have founder and I guess host of one of the largest cryptocurrency channels on YouTube, Ben of BitBoy Crypto. Man, thanks for being on.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been a big fan of you guys for a long time. We met in San Francisco and a couple of years back, and I remember I was on your live stream. You guys let me on your live stream to talk when we were at it was actually a Tron event of all things, which we all probably regret. But yeah, definitely we've been good friends, and definitely glad to come on and talk a little crypto with you guys.
Totally. And like I told you off camera, dude, when we met, dude, your channel was, as far as engagement goes, nothing. I mean, and it just speaks like now it's like you're like one of the top people when it comes to crypto YouTube. So your growth is undeniable. So congrats to you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. And back at it, back to you guys with that. I mean, you guys are phenomenal as well. We definitely look to you guys as, one of the leading channels in cryptocurrency. And I think if you just look back at my channel, it just proves that hard work and not giving up, and all those years that I was making videos, nobody was watching, I got a lot of value out of the learning that I was doing. And then of course the learning how to make videos and up the quality and things like that. So, you guys just remember hard work pays off. That's what I'd say about all that. So thank you for the kind words.
I love it. And for the folks at home, the title of this episode is Top 5 Cheap Altcoins to Look at in 2021. But the first half is just going to be big picture cryptocurrency type questions. So I encourage you to check the timestamps down below. But Ben, let me start with, obviously you have a very loyal channel. It's growing super fast. But for those who don't know you, would you consider yourself a fundamental analyst, or what would your title or core competency be?
Yeah, I like to consider myself like an expert in fundamental analysis. I mean, I know people are, real shy to throw the word expert around, but like I said, I've been making 2 to 3 videos a day. Now we're moving to 3 here soon. By the time people see this, we'll probably be at a 3 video per day level, 1 live stream and then 2 regular videos. All of that knowledge about how to analyze the way the fundamentals around the market and really the current events and the news cycle, how they affect Bitcoin. And then of course, taking into consideration the, history of the Bitcoin cycles. I'm much bigger on the historical cycles than I am looking at the TA today. And that's why one reason our channel has grown so much is because we've pinpointed Bitcoin's moves, ever since the end of last year. I mean, really much before that. I predicted all-time highs for Bitcoin in November and December of last year at the end of 2019, based strictly on the fundamental analysis that we did around the Bitcoin cycles. And we've got dates where we think the bull market is going to end and, all those types of things. And people are very interested in that. And so we definitely analyze. We do some charting on our live streams. We do look at the charts now. I mean, just over time, I wasn't a natural technical analysis or analyst. I wasn't a person that studied charting specifically, but over time, I know Crypto Zombie has said this before, you just pick it up, you learn it because you're looking at the charts every day. So we do a little bit of that, but really just trying to bring education and awareness and tutorials. And then of course, we've got our TikTok that, we have more followers over there than pretty much, everybody in crypto with all their accounts. We got lucky basically to get in, be a first mover there. But we put out good content there. And so there we're teaching beginners, new people coming into crypto. And I think, that's really what we like to focus on is education and fundamental analysis, and then awareness about, different kinds of altcoins. And right now, specifically, we become what we believe to be the leading Ethereum channel out there on YouTube. So.
Well, before we get into Ethereum, like you've been saying since last year that, or since maybe 2019, that because of the halving thing, Bitcoin cycle top will be sometime around September of this year. And you've been saying that for a long time. Do you still believe that?
September 28th, 2021, absolutely. Now, of course, it's not a hard date, okay? But around that time should be the end of this market in the beginning of a bear winter. If you go back and look at the historical cycles, there's something called the golden bull ratio, and it leads you Trading Shot, account on TradingView came up with this, figured out that the amount of time between the bottom of the market and the halving, and then the halving and the top of the market is very symmetrical. It's a 49-51% ratio. And we know all those numbers except for the end of the market right now. So we can do the math and figure out September 28th. Now, I predicted all-time highs for Bitcoin in the first, I think somewhere around May or June last year. I predicted all-time high for Bitcoin December 23rd of 2020, based on the historical charts. And I said, give or take a week. When did it hit all-time highs? Literally 7 days before that, 1 week before. So, I mean, there's a lot to learn when you look at these historical Bitcoin charts. But what people really get confused about this is the feelings, you know, the euphoria or the depression. They tend to make people believe that, like, this time is different. They always think that. And I was guilty of it in the bear market. This time's different, guys. The price is going to continue to go up. And it didn't. And I learned a hard lesson getting wrecked all throughout the bear market that, you know, we can't will the prices to where they are. The Bitcoin market is driven by supply and demand economics built into the principles and the fundamentals of Bitcoin itself. You know, and they really haven't steered us wrong. And as long as they don't steer us wrong, I'm going to go with history over going with what somebody is saying now. And because of that, you know, I definitely still believe in that date, September 28th, give or take a week.
And, you know, like you said, everybody always thinks this time is different. A lot of people still don't believe that near the cycle top, things will be, you know, as bubbly as they sometimes always get. But I'm sure at that time, people will be thinking this time is different. The price isn't going down. This is the first mainstream cycle. Might be a super cycle. Do you give any credence to the super cycle, mainstream cycle thing that this time might be different, or you still think bear market is happening in 2022?
Yeah, bear market definitely in 2022. I mean, you know what? And I tell you, one of the things that really, really, really got me super interested in these Bitcoin cycles and their validity and their consistency is when I was doing a deep dive into the halving, and I was looking at articles. I did a Google search on news, and then I got it to where the dates were only between 2014 to 2016, okay? Before the date of the halving, which was in July of that year, okay, of 2016. And what I found is people were saying the exact same thing now, right before May, now about the last recent halving, in May that they were saying in 2015, which is the halving price is going to be baked in and it's not going to pump this time and more people know about it and mainstream is coming. And I was just like, man, it's so amazing to look how the sentiment from people didn't change, even though the evidence of what was obvious was so prevalent, you know, which was, it was the same thing then, the same thing now. And so what I think about the super cycle is, like, can it be a super cycle? Well, at some point we start running into a money problem in the world. How much money is there? You know, like for Bitcoin to pump above $500,000, for instance, during this cycle, it would have to break the stock market or break the gold market. It would have to break the real estate market. It had to break a market somewhere. Like there's not enough money really liquid to be able to make Bitcoin to pump up past $500,000 at this point without breaking a market. But what I think we're going to see, I do think there is one difference right now. And that difference would be that we do have PayPal, Grayscale, MicroStrategy, Square, all these people buying up so much Bitcoin that they're probably not going to sell a large amount of those. But then they probably still have a set of liquid amount that they'll use to push down the market. Because, I mean, we all know how this thing works. I don't know if you also saw GameStop on the stock market. It's the same thing across all money markets. You know, you got the big fish that are manipulating the markets and making money. So I think there could be a way they could push it down. But I think because of the strong amount of holdings that these people are storing up, instead of getting an 85% Bitcoin drop, we might get a 60% Bitcoin drop. You know, I think we will see a little bit less volatility on the downside. But the beginning of that market, you know, decline is probably going to look very similar to what we've seen in the past.
Interesting. And branching off maybe with Bitcoin or maybe even a little further, since I like to think our channel as well as your channel, even with TikTok, there's a lot of new people that are entering the space through YouTube and learning about cryptocurrency as their first initial thing on these platforms. What type of content do you see people asking about the most, or what eyes are on what type of content the most?
Yeah, I would say that what we're seeing on my channel, and I'll tell you just how interesting it is that what I'm seeing on YouTube in the comment section, what I'm seeing on TikTok, with the exception of Dogecoin. They do love Dogecoin on TikTok. You know, anybody who's followed that whole thing, basically they pump and dumped, you know, Dogecoin at some point back over the summer. And so just the kids on TikTok, they love Dogecoin. Of course, you know, they're very, you know, Gen Z, they love memes and stuff like that. So outside of that, I've seen my real life mimic what's happening on YouTube, which is people are asking for Ethereum content. That's what people are asking for. They're asking for Ethereum. They might be asking about Cardano, Chainlink, but mainly Ethereum. Why is that? Well, people feel like they missed the boat on Bitcoin. And now it's getting to a point where people are missing the boat on Bitcoin. Right now, one Bitcoin, as of this moment, which I'm down about 5% on a long, so I know exactly what the price is. It's 32,450 at the moment of this recording. And the average person cannot afford that. We all know that. The average person in America, the richest country in the world, you know, maybe outside of China these days, but the richest capitalist country in the world. And there are people that cannot afford a full Bitcoin. The majority of people cannot afford that. And yes, we know, being in crypto for as long as we've been in it, we know, well, you can buy a quarter of a Bitcoin, or you can buy this. The average new person is not thinking like that. They look at that price and they say, that is too high. They look at the price of Ethereum and they say, $1,500. Okay, or wherever it's at, you know, it's 13 something at the moment. I can buy that right now. I can buy one of those. I can buy 3 of those. And so people are really asking about that. And there's, you know, the one thing that is, you know, really advantageous is Grayscale. I mean, they have the Grayscale Ethereum Trust. There's rumors of a Link Trust. We don't know if that's for sure or not. But, you know, so you're seeing a lot of these people in the stock market get exposed to it too. And I'm just so amazed. We heavily underestimate the weight that the actual price has, because we understand the tokenomics, we understand the supply, we understand the circulation, we understand how the price relates to that. Even people I know that are well educated, this is not, you know, Bobby down at GameStop. Okay, twice GameStop reference. You think maybe I'm part of that manipulation? Okay,
Can you get 3? Can you get 3?
3
by the end of this interview?
Well, I don't know. Maybe we should play a game. Stop.
Okay.
That was a dad joke. I don't know if y'all caught that. I turned GameStop into a dad joke for the 3rd reference. I know that went over y'all's head. Okay. But here's the thing. These are not random Joe Blow people from, you know, retail stores or $15 an hour workers now these days in most places. These are people who own businesses, run businesses, do stock investments. I know people that have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that they've just poured into cryptocurrency. Okay. These people still, I hear things like, well, give me one of them that's like 10 cents right now. You know, give me one of, I see this one over here on Coinbase. It's $1.25. Can it get as high as Bitcoin? These are smart people. These are not idiots. And yet this escapes them to understand the relationship between the caps and the supply and the circulation and the price. And for that reason, you know, that's why I believe heavily in altcoins. I hear it. I see it in my regular life. This is the kind of content people want. They want to know what coin can they get in on and, you know, ride a wave like Bitcoin.
So obviously from like, I tend to agree with you, man. From like, we're speaking like not from fundamentals, but purely people's perception. And this is such a nascent growing market, people's unit bias. I mean, Coinbase used to have like 3 or 4 coins back in 2017. Now they have tons of coins. The coin education is beyond what it used to be. You know, would it be nice if everybody just bought Bitcoin? Yeah, that might be nice, but there's no way that they're not going to buy Ethereum with Raul and Tyler and all cryptocurrency companies promoting it. There's no way they're not going to speculate on alts, because at a certain point, these illiquid alts are just going to start trending up because people are buying it. Yeah.
Well, and that's, you know, there's a difference between where we're at right now in the cycle and when all the dumb money comes in. And you know, that's kind of the phase that we see of altcoin season. The lowest form of altcoin season, which is the highest form, you know, basically it's when the lowest form of investor comes in and they just start investing in anything anybody talks about, any ticker that they see. They say, oh, that's a coin that, you know, does this. Maybe Walmart will use that. I'm going to invest in that. They have nothing to base it on. You know, they're just pumping money in. And that'll be towards the end of the cycle, you know, definitely in my opinion, August, you know, maybe late July, August, September. I believe the end of the altcoin season will be around Halloween.
Dude, so you're literally saying that by August or September, Bitcoin will be at a price of whatever the cycle top is, 150,000, 200,000 by September, and Ethereum is going to be at a price of what, like 5,000, 10,000, all by September? Or December?
Ethereum might be at 5,000 by March. Like, there's no question about that in my mind. So kind of here, I'll give you guys my predictions for my precious coins, my Ethereum and my Bitcoin. Because you have to understand, like, look, I'm almost an Ethereum maximalist. Like, I love Ethereum. That's kind of a silly phrase. I mean, we all know that that's, you know, not a real thing, but we love Ethereum on this channel. We've been preaching Ethereum, an ETH evangelist, if you will, for a long time. And people have made a lot of money that have been watching my channel that have been investing in Ethereum, and they're continuing to do that. However, the Ethereum price is still based on the Bitcoin price to some extent. if Bitcoin goes to $115,000 and that's the top, like Dan Moorhead of Pantera Capital says, then there's, Ethereum is probably going to be in the $10,000 to $15,000 range. I think 10,000 is minimum for Ethereum. And look, we're right almost at 1,500. We almost hit 1,500, last night. It's like a 6X from there, a little bit more than that, but it's not that much. It's, it's 6.6X, somewhere around there. Definitely possible, I believe, when Bitcoin blows its top off. Okay. But I believe my personal prediction for Bitcoin, $322,000. People wonder how I came up with that. I don't just randomly pick these things. That's an average of what I find to be 3 totally different predictions coming from totally different places or numbers, and I average those together. It's basically the stock to flow chart. And I know you guys love the stock to flow chart. I discovered the stock to flow chart through your channel, just so you guys know. That's what really got me turned on to that. So you created a monster, okay? So, but 289,000 is the top of that chart. And I really like the Citibank. I really like their prediction of 318,000 this year because they're very specific. It is this year, $318,000, because that's not a crypto related company, as you know, but they're getting in crypto. And that was an internal document that got leaked. Now, did they leak it on purpose or publicity? I don't know. I'm gonna go with no, that somebody leaked it because that was the report. And then $360,000, because if you go back to 2017 bull cycle, what you'll see is that the price of Bitcoin 18x, technically 17.8. We'll round up to 18. It 18x'd its previous all-time high, okay? If we were to 18x our previous all-time high, which this is a super bullish market, the money printing, we all know we're living at a time like no other time, totally could be possible. If we were to do that, that would put the number of Bitcoin at 360,000. So you get all those together, mix them together, you got, kind of a low bullish, a high bullish, and a mid bullish. Those are all moon targets. We know that. And you get 322,000. If you look at the price of Ethereum, okay, and you say, if Ethereum can achieve a 0.08 to 0.1 BTC ratio, to give you guys some numbers, in 2017, it went all the way up to 0.14 BTC. If you look at the peak of the bull run, of the Ethereum bull run, which was a little bit after that number, about 6 months after, it reached 0.11 BTC. Okay, meaning it's 11% of the price of Bitcoin. If Ethereum can achieve similar numbers, anywhere between 8% to 10% of Bitcoin's price, Ethereum's going to pump after Bitcoin to the highest, as it should. We have Bitcoin that tops out, and then the money flows into the alts. That makes the Bitcoin price go down, the dominance go down. Basically, the number that I've came up with, I believe that if Bitcoin reaches that $322,000 mark, we could see Ethereum at $27,000.
I love it. And I love the analysis you back that up with. And obviously, as we go down the list, it gets more speculative. I know you've talked about these two coins before, just for this cycle specifically on our channel, like I'm bullish on them, Polkadot and Cardano. If Ethereum gets to that level or around that level you're talking about, what could you see for some of these interoperators with Ethereum?
Yeah, so I don't throw price predictions out all willy-nilly, as I say sometimes. So I can't give you guys a price prediction for those because I have not redone my amended price predictions, because I had some price predictions based upon a $225,000 Bitcoin, but I've now become more bullish. So I totally changed. That had been my prediction all through last year, but just due to the money printing and the stuff, like literally, guys, I want to say this. My wife sent me this image, okay, that she took. Gosh, I hope I don't dox what she watches, but from the news, I'll just say the news. And it literally said,
Fox News. Okay.
Yeah. How did you know? How did you know what it was from? How did you know? Because I'm in Georgia. Okay. Well, I guess that doesn't mean that anymore. Okay. It says, Biden, overwhelming consensus among economists is that the way to avoid recession is to spend money now. Just imagine that. Just process that. The way we get out of this money problem is to spend more money. And of course, we got to print it. It doesn't even exist. So because of all those things, I definitely am way more bullish, and have had to kind of up my prediction. So I haven't given an amended Cardano price prediction. I will be doing that in the next couple of weeks, and DOT. But this is what I'll say. Ethereum smart contract platforms, including Cardano, including DOT, right? And especially because DOT's, reverse compatible with Ethereum, even though Ethereum's not compatible with DOT. Pretty interesting thing there is that all of the problems that we pretty much are facing on the internet right now are solvable by these decentralized platforms. It's kind of like if Amazon was just as powerful as a retail source, but Jeff Bezos couldn't make policy decisions in the United States. If Facebook was just as robust, but yet Mark Zuckerberg wasn't able to censor whoever he doesn't like. That's the opportunity that Ethereum and DOT and Cardano all have. And when you combine that with decentralized finance, Cardano is going to be a big player in decentralized finance. We know DOT is just now getting ready to go on its run. I think the sky's the limit for that thing, for sure, as far as price goes. But when you look at what all these coins are doing in the platforms, the coins are great, but these platforms, when you look at decentralized finance and what cryptocurrency is supposed to be about, it's all right, wrapped up in finance. Andreas Antonopoulos said, the first application of new technology should be for money. And yeah, that's what Bitcoin started out as, but we know what Bitcoin is now, and it's not the same thing as it started out as. It's still the same code, right? But we know the perception of it and the goals that people have who own it are different than those of us that invested. I was in Bitcoin in 2012. My goal with Bitcoin in 2012 was to buy it and to get it and use it to pay for a software. That was how I got into crypto originally. And so that was my goal. Nobody who gets Bitcoin today, who goes to Coinbase and buys it, says, I want this so I can go buy something. No one says that. It's digital gold. We all know that at this point. Even though
that's good though, isn't that better? I
agree. No, it is.
Spend like a peer-to-peer payment, like what Roger Ver wants. That doesn't resonate with me. Like the store value digital gold, that resonates with me more and makes it easier to understand. I feel.
Oh, I agree totally. I think that's why it's turned into that. Yeah. It turned into that out of necessity since nobody spends it. But the issue is that Bitcoin is limited in what it can do in the world of finance. Ethereum is not, Cardano is not, DOT is not. Cardano and DOT, they will not truly get the kind of adoption that we're seeing from Ethereum right now. That's why I believe Ethereum is the best asset for this bull run. I'm also very bullish on DOT. I'm very bullish on Cardano. Cardano is, definitely one of my top holdings. DOT is not right now, but that's only because I feel like I missed it a little bit right now. I may wait for a dip and try to add some bags of that too. But DOT and Cardano have a huge opportunity to pump during this bull run out of the speculation that it will solve some of the problems that will arise in this bull run from Ethereum's congestion. Basically it boils down to, will ETH 2.0, when it fully launches, solve all its problems or not? And, the speculation of whether that can happen or not will definitely allow those two projects to eat away from some of Ethereum's market share in the decentralized platform space.
I love it. And for me personally, I have two more questions before we get into some of those low cap alts that we're talking about. One of my questions is, obviously, yes, right now, Ethereum is affordable to the common person. Some people, you got to save up maybe for it, but, around the price now, it's affordable. Eventually it won't be. Would you say, is owning maybe 0.5 or 0.6 ETH any significance? Or maybe what is the minimum number of Ethereum needed for a person to become quote unquote rich, in your opinion?
Yeah, well, I don't think there is a number. And here's why. Because I actually just got this question yesterday from someone in my real life. I talked about it a little bit on a video recently, which is someone asked me that very question. They said, well, and look, these people have some money, but, they haven't been in cryptocurrency at all. So, they haven't seen the benefits of what's happened this year. We know what the pandemic has done, all across the board for, businesses and things. So people are struggling. They've got some money now that they want to invest. And they said, well, what do I do with this? How much Ethereum do I need to buy to really get rich? I said, see, that's a trick question, because it's not how much Ethereum you can buy now. It's how much Ethereum you can buy for the next bull run. However much you can afford now, and obviously I'm also getting a lot of questions. Should I take out loans to buy crypto? No, do not ever take out loans to buy crypto. It's a highly speculative market. Do not take out loans to buy crypto. I don't care how surefire you think something is after you watch me or Altcoin Daily or, anybody out there that talks about altcoins or Bitcoin, it's highly speculative. Anything. We saw what can happen just with the rumor of a double spin the other day. And so the problem where people get in problems with loans is where They take out loans, they buy the crypto drops. Now they can't even take the money out and afford to pay the loan back, and they're having to pay interest. I tell people taking out loans to buy crypto is not a good idea. So I don't suggest that to people. When it comes to Ethereum or even Bitcoin in that matter, however much you can afford to invest, and this is my limit. I'm more than 90% invested in a cryptocurrency, and my total net worth as a human being, over 90% of my money is in crypto. So for me personally, like I can say with conviction that I believe that this is the way to change your life. However much you can put into Ethereum, especially below $1,400, it may be above $1,400 by the time people see this video. That's a number I've been telling. I was telling people the same thing below 600, now below 1,400. We don't know where the next number is going to be. The key is understanding these cycles, getting the maximum amount of money that you can get in this cycle from Ethereum. And if you're really in this for the long term, go over to stable coins when we get near the blow off tops of these coins. We know the time frame it should be happening in, and then let it drop. And then you can, according to traditionally the Bitcoin cycles, you can 9x your holdings, because altcoins traditionally drop 90% in the bear market. Now, even if it goes down to 70%, 70x or 7x your holdings, now you've got potentially life-changing money, because the top for Ethereum will be even higher, the top for Bitcoin will be even higher, over the long haul. We're not even seeing what Ethereum can do yet. We're not even seeing what Cardano is barely even launched. So there still is another cycle in this game, especially when we start getting the derivatives market involved for the next cycle. I think will lead the next cycle. But that's the answer to that question. I don't have a number. I know the Bitcoin people love to talk about 6.15 BTC. The number for that is on Ethereum is a game of get as much as you can and be smart, and don't, you got to make sure you get out of this market when it's the right time. And that's the way you can change your life.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on to altcoin questions, like maybe the $1,000 one. Or
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. Let's go to talk about low cap altcoins. And maybe this has to do with this for you, or maybe not, but just a fun game, Ben. If I give you $1,000 to invest in cryptocurrency today with the goal of making $1 million by the end of this year, or else you'll die, or else you're dead, how would you invest that $1,000?
Oh man, that is such a tough question. I guess I'll go 100x leverage on Bybit. I guess that's probably what I'll do. I mean,
is it?
What's that?
Is it? Because that whatever.
I mean, that is a way you can do it. It's extremely dangerous. I mean, but if you're telling me I'm going to die, I mean, I got to take some risks somewhere, right? I think when you're looking at projects that have a high, so here's the thing, really. When it comes to right now, the best way to invest that money is very similar to what I just said about Ethereum. It's not to take that money and bet it right now in 5 coins that are going to make you $1 million, because that's not going to happen with $1,000. You're not going to 100x your, or is that 1,000x? You're not going to 1,000x your holdings, simply based upon investing in, 5 altcoins. Because if I give you my top 5 altcoins that are like really, really low in the rankings, we're talking like 400s, 500s, down around that range, one of them might pump tremendously. The other 4 might lose you money, so you're not looking at these like all of these are going to 100x or all of these are going to 200x. That would be what it would require to get you there. Okay. But it's learning to ride that altcoin cycle. It's learning to ride right now. Where I would be putting my money is in Cardano, DOT, Ethereum, Aave, synthetics. That's where I'd be putting my money right now. And then when we get to you increase that $1,000 to, let's say, $25,000. Okay. Now you got a chance to get there. Now you got a chance to take that $25,000 and start dispersing it to the lower caps, in the 300, 400, 500 range. And at that point, now you can really start, making some big gains. And I think that's the way to do it. But there's plenty of projects down there that, fit that qualification that can get you there. But right now, we're not seeing those move drastically, So what you're going to want to do is increase your holdings in some of those larger caps. Move down to the top, go from the top 100 to the, you might want to start with Aave, but, then eGold is down there around number 50, Elron, I think you guys like Elron pretty well. That's one that I did a video on this week that did really well, and I think it's got a good chance to 50x. But you got to know how to move that money down the mountain in the right way, and that's how you turn $1,000 into $1 million. We've seen it. I mean, there's a guy on Twitter, ETH Razor. He told a story about how he turned $800 into $1 million, and that was not with 5 coins. That was taking money, riding the DeFi raise, losing 50 ETH in rug pulls left and right, just getting in super speculative stuff, but also getting in some the 100x, instead of that, basically the risks are lower than the rewards when you're playing that kind of truly speculative game. But it's also a little bit of luck, because sometimes it is the reverse. If you take a few big losses right off the rip, then you're also not going to get there.
I think a lot of people don't appreciate how thoughtful you are with your analysis, Ben. It would have been easy just to say like 5 coins and just give what each coin is, but you didn't do that, dude. I like that.
Well, I mean, I want people to understand, like, you can it's possible. You're more likely to make $1 million in cryptocurrency right now with a small amount than you are taking $1,000 and go putting on lottery tickets. But on some level, there is some comparisons there. So I can certainly give you guys some projects that I'm looking at. I'm going down my list right now and looking at some that I'm very bullish on. If you want me to do that as well, I can do.
Dude, I would love that.
Yeah. So some projects that I'm looking at that I think have great potential, and I'm just going to say off the rip, 3 of these I'm an advisor for. And I feel like people have to understand what we've went through on my channel over the last year is we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about projects that do well and projects that don't do well, projects we want to be associated with, projects we don't want to be associated with. And so that's why we've really narrowed down. We don't really do sponsored content on my channel anymore. We might have from companies, from a hardware wallet, we might, or something like that, but not from new finance coins or DeFi coins that pop up out of nowhere. And projects that we're, really looking at hard are ones we want to have long-term partnerships with, because we see where these things can go. And so, 3 of those projects right off the rip that I'll tell you guys about. Smart Key. We love Smart Key. I've actually did an interview on that's going out on Fox Business Bloomberg this week with Smart Key as an advisor for them. We love the idea of taking advantage of the future, and the future is digital. And this pandemic has sped that up by my CEO here at BitBoy Crypto, TJ. He says it sped it up by 10 years. And the interesting thing that we're seeing right now is it may be even sped up even further. We're looking at part of the stimulus plan, supposedly. I haven't read it myself, but from reports I've seen are that, if you want to be a business that gets the stimulus this go round, you're going to have to raise your minimum wage to $15. And so we're seeing moves like that where people are being held over a barrel and forced to increase wages, which we all know will increase automation and increase, production from other sources than humans. Then we're seeing that sped up as well. So AI, blockchain, these are all going to be they're all going to do a lot when it comes to, getting advantages from stimulus, sped up even further. And Smart Key is a project that, blends the digital with the physical. For instance, emergency services. That's a great example that we use when we talk about Smart Key, which is, imagine that you are at an apartment complex, okay? And you have now had an emergency, like maybe somebody's choking or, somebody's
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Exactly. The emergency service come up, well, there's a gate. Now they have to get out, wait for somebody to come to open the gate, like for an apartment complex. Smart Key's got a mechanism built in to work with what they're calling not just the Internet of Things, but the blockchain of things, and to be able to make it to where devices can communicate from emergency services with things like gates so they can get in and save your life.
But a lot of times when you sign up for a service like that, you give them your gate code and then they just have it for the 911 people to...
Well, it may not. The idea is not for an individual for sign up for that service. It's for the apartment complex, to sign up for that. And I don't know. I don't know the inner workings of how emergency services work right now with that. It's not.
Well, it seems like a quick fix. It's like, oh, this service is, is meant to help people with what we're just talking about. If the apartment's signing up, it would probably give them a gate code.
Yeah, possibly. But this is a different way of doing that other than having a manual code. Here's a great, for instance. Think about this. If there's a break-in an apartment, somebody breaks into the complex, they could change that code. I mean, they want to manually call and change that code. Right now, I don't believe there's a system that integrates all that together. I know, like, this is really kind of silly compared to emergency services, like Uber Eats. Like, they can't go into certain places because they don't have codes. I was at a hotel recently. They couldn't get in, you know? So basically ways that all this stuff can be automated so that people can get to...
Truly revolutionary.
He doesn't like it. These guys hate
Just
all.
kidding. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. Then we also have.
Wait, I have a question. I have a question on that. Is it so? Like in its most basic sense, I just don't know. I know it's an ERC20 token.
Mm-hmm.
Is it in the most basic sense digital ID on the blockchain, only under the realm of security? So it holds all your secure digital identification and then brings that up?
Yeah, there's definitely an ID, an identification aspect to it. There are some more uses when you start talking about their, some, partnerships I know they have coming up. I can't really talk about right now, but there are some larger use cases. Yeah, smart cars, for instance, that's a really good example. We do know that like Tesla, right? They got a whole operating system built into their interface, and people are building apps and getting those apps to communicate with actual devices that are outside of the cars. Is also a pretty good use of the technology. So there's a lot of good things about Smart Key. They're very on the ball. They got a lot of big partnerships. Teltonica is another partnership. I'm not super familiar with that company, but that's a big company they're partnered with. What's that? Kia. They have a partnership with Kia? TJ says they have a partnership with Kia. I didn't even know about that. Must be fresh news here.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So we also have a YFDAI that we work with. YFDAI is, kind of came out of the finance, DeFi craze over the summer, but very interesting. We had actually had talks with a project that was supposed to prevent rug pulls. We've seen this with Trust Swap. We've seen this with LID, liquidity provider. I can't remember what LID exactly stands for, but these are supposed to prevent projects from being able to rug pull and leave the DeFi space. And of course, what happens, the project we were talking to about that, they rug pulled everybody. So it was like really, really frustrating to see that a lot of these people are talking out both sides of their mouth, saying one thing and doing the other. YFDAI is a project that really does have a lot of solutions to that. It's a hybrid exchange. They're safe swap. It's basically where there's some centralization to we pick which projects come onto this exchange. Once the projects get on the exchange, they've got locked liquidity, and then it works in a decentralized peer-to-peer way, which is pretty cool. Because we know Vitalik talked a long time ago about the continuum of decentralization and how basically on one end there's total decentralization, which doesn't actually exist in the world. And of course we have total control on the other side, and everything that's decentralized falls on a continuum on that timeline or that range. And basically YFDAI has created this, safe swap exchange that has elements of centralization where only approved projects, they've got to meet certain criteria to get on. Any project is going to be able to jump on there and rug pull like we see with Uniswap. We see the problems of decentralization with Uniswap. So that's definitely another one that we're big fans of, advisor for. Ferrum Network.
I have some questions on YFDAI because I've seen a few of your videos on there. Is that eventually are you going to end the gatekeeping eventually where anybody can, or is it always going to be, it has to get approved through us?
Yeah, that's the goal. Is there will be decentralized governance that will there will be people making those decisions. It will not just be, hey, let's jump on Uniswap. Now it will be the goal is to get it to be where it's community driven. But I think that that's something that right now we're not even close to. I think that decentralized governance on DEXs. I mean, guys, let's think about DEXs. They just popped up. They're brand new. Like, I would have never thought, now Uniswap's been around for a while, but nobody's using it. I would have never thought in my wildest imaginations, even in the beginning of 2020, that we would see DEXs take over the volume from Binance. Like, that was nuts. I made videos talking about how I never thought that would happen. Like, I'm not perfect. I definitely thought that was years. I thought that was the next cycle because the learning curve was so steep. But it's not really, you just show people how to do it once and they know how to do it. And MetaMask has become so prevalent that, in general, like MetaMask to me is the second layer of crypto, in crypto education. Like, you've got the centralized exchanges, you got to learn how to use those. And then after that, if you get down the rabbit hole a little bit further, you find out about MetaMask and when you can use MetaMask. Now they've got internal swapping on, through MetaMask itself. But there's plenty of DEXs out there. So we're still learning. Like, guys, we're so new in all this. A lot of these are great ideas, and that's really what prices are pumping on is speculation. We know that. Nothing in crypto really outside of like basic attention token. We kind of know what it's used for, and it's actually having a use case. We know what some privacy coins, Horizon, Monero, we know Litecoin is, we know what, Bitcoin Cash is, we know what, but even Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin themselves have some issues with, speed, and they're still going through some changes. So we just got to remember, like, we're so new at all this that we're just trying to get our feet wet and figure it out. So I think the gatekeeping is, it kind of sounds counter to total decentralization, but at the same time, I think it is something that is necessary at this time.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing that jumps out to me as more of a, I'm watching YFDAI from the sidelines. I got people in the comments, saying, hey, check out this cryptocurrency. Dude, such a low circulating supply and total supply. Is that, what is the point of a circulating supply so low? Obviously, it doesn't truly matter in the grand scheme of things, but I just look at that and be like, wow, we saw what happened with Wi-Fi. That thing pumped because it has obviously utility and good developers, but you didn't create the coin, but can you speak a little on that?
Well, that's kind of the goal. That's the model, right? Your finance is the model, and it does really well. And, the idea of having a low supply and a price that's, pretty easily higher than Bitcoin is something that, appeals to the finance world, and Yearn Finance is doing it very well. And YFDAI, that's why we originally kind of got hand in hand with them, is because we saw what happened with Yearn Finance, and we love the idea of token burning. Because listen, let's face it, guys, this bull run right now, we just said it, it's about speculation. And why do I do what I do? Do I do what I do on this channel because, I believe that by the end of this year that all of our problems are going to be solved with crypto? No, not at all. I have this channel. My goal on this channel is to make my viewers as much money as I can in an ethical way. Long term, my goal is the adoption of cryptocurrency. We will be covering crypto. We are not going anywhere on this channel. I know you guys saw what happened in 2017, and a lot of these creators that were larger at the time, they're not even here anymore. Like, where's Crypto Bobby? Okay, where's Crypto Bobby? I ain't seen him in a long. I like Bobby. I met him. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. It's some of those other guys who are like a lot.
Yeah, but they disappeared. Like, they quit making content. We're not doing that on this channel. This is going to be a long time in the making. So in the next cycle, I believe it will have a lot more to do with the actual adoption of these things, right? What matters right now is that you have projects with good fundamentals and that are going to be here in the long term. But right now, in the short term, you're asking me what projects do I think can make people money? That doesn't have as much to do with where I think it's going to be in 4 years. Now, obviously, we are aligning ourselves with projects that we do feel like are going to be here in a long time. But this bull run is about speculation. This is not about adoption. I think that's where a lot of people get fooled. And it does feel like we're running on, two different tangents here, where we are running on, like, we're trying to help people make money and change their lives financially. But yet the longer term, we see the vision of what is happening in cryptocurrency. And, I just love to talk about the censorship that's been going on across the internet, where, I couldn't really wrap my mind around, like, unstoppable domains, for instance. Couldn't really wrap my mind around it 3 months ago. I totally get it now. Like, where we literally have companies, if they disagree with you, regardless of the stance where you fall on these things, censorship, where people come in and take your domains, take away your web hosting, like, that is such a good use case for cryptocurrency. With unstoppable domains, nobody can come take that domain from you. They got to have your private key to your ETH wallet to come take that. So we love the long-term vision of crypto. That is why this channel exists. That's why I formed it, because I saw what was happening in crypto. But over the short term, the tokenomics and the pumpamentals, if you will, of legit projects that are not rug pulling and having a lot of liquidity in the DeFi world, they're going to make people a lot of money. And I love the supply of YFDAI because it provides, a way to do that. And, when it comes to smart contracts with a lot of these projects, they have mechanisms, where at their use based on decentralized governance, where they could come in and make it where, like with Bitcoin, it'd be really hard to add another decimal. right? With some of these smart contracts and the decentralized governance and protocol upgrades, that supply can, an unlimited amount of value can live within that small supply still, if you break it up into more decimals. So in the short term, I think it's great for the speculation. The token burning, they're going to get that thing down. I think the number right now is 17,000. I think they're burning like 4,000. It's going to go down to 13,000. I don't have the numbers right here in front of me. But yeah, I think I love the small supply, right? I mean, you look at Bitcoin versus Ethereum, even a 5x from the max supply of Bitcoin, or 5.5x, whatever it would be of that supply. You're seeing Ethereum right now take steps with the EIP 1559 to, prevent some of that, growing supply, the inflation by token burning, which is what YFDAI is also doing.
Yeah, cool. I love a low supply too. I want to be clear on that, and that's honestly what sort of like maybe do a double take, like, wow, there's a lot of coins with low supplies, but if I have, I see sort of the hype or people saying, hey, check this out. It just makes me interested.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, what is that? What is this right here? I couldn't believe it when I first saw it, but yeah.
I cut you off. You're going over some other projects you like, and then we're in our final, 5-7 minutes. So I'll let you take it.
Yeah. Okay. So two other projects that I like that are small that, here's the truth, guys. When I'm looking at these projects that I think have a lot of potential, we're certainly investing in them. We're certainly putting money in these things that have high potential for the long term, for sure. And two of those projects that I like a lot. One of them is Alliance Block. I really like Alliance Block. I've been talking about it a pretty good bit here recently. It's been on a heck of a run. Did an interview with Elio recently, and we talked about it because it really fits the definition. Right now it's coming in at 242 on CoinMarketCap. It's up 50% this week. It really fits the definition of these projects. Right. We had so much overload with the DeFi craze over the summer. So much overload. And you're looking at these projects and you're sitting there like, wait a second, is this legit or not? What have I gotten myself into? Because all these projects would immediately collapse right when they launch, right? That's the thing. These guys get investors and the prices immediately collapse, especially for the ones that launch around the time the DeFi bubble kind of popped right after the Uniswap token launched. And Alliance Block is one of these that really fit that collapse in the DeFi craze, but they kept building and they kept building and they kept building. They work with the London Stock Exchange. They are, kind of a way to bring capital markets into, crypto work, basically the idea of combining CeFi with DeFi. That's what we see from a lot of these projects. And it is one that has been on a phenomenal run and is now at the point where it's gone above where it was in the DeFi craze. I'm looking for a lot of those projects that are kind of like stepping up, their price, that are breaking through resistance from the DeFi craze over the summer, because I really believe, like we talked about earlier, like DeFi is the future. Right now, if you're looking at the projects that I believe are going to have the highest potential to moon, as we say here, they're DeFi projects. They're money projects. And so ALBT is definitely a good one. Some other ones that I like, that are pretty far down the list here. There's so many good ones. I like Ramp. Ramp is a good one. Cardia Chain is okay. But I like, here's one that I really like, which is, Sandbox. I really like Sandbox. Right now it's coming at 268. It was a Binance Launchpad project, okay? And we're working with Sandbox in terms of it's a game. Sandbox is a game. It's kind of like Decentraland, right? Mana. And the rumor is, I don't know if it's true, the rumor is there's going to be a Decentraland trust on the stock market, a Link Trust, Decentraland, Live Peer, and base contingent token, right? So we don't know. That's not 100% confirmed yet. We've seen some paperwork that makes us think that is, unless it was basically a false advertising campaign by Link people to push the price up. Which
Wait, is that the Grayscale Trust you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. So basically there was paperwork filed in Delaware, which, if you've ever formed an LLC, Wyoming and Delaware are the two states to do it in. And so there was there were some paperwork filed for an LLC in Delaware under the name of Grayscale, including Link, Live Peer, which is, in the hundreds. It's not even a top 100 project. Mana, which is Decentraland, and basic attention token. But this could be something to throw us off. This could be something somebody put in there to kind of pump the prices due to the speculation of, is this really Grayscale or not? So Grayscale hasn't officially made an announcement on it, but Decentraland is one that was included in that. Virtual real estate is going to be big. I believe, and this is one reason why I love Smart Key, going back to that. is it's the real meets the virtual. And I really believe, and I know this sounds crazy, especially for somebody that's not a nerd, right? I'm not a nerd. I don't get into video games. We're going to be doing a video game channel in the future. They're having to talk me into it. You know, I'm like an old man. I like to play sports games. I like Madden and NBA Live or NBA 2K. I said NBA Live. You know how far back I go. Right. But 95, okay, Charles Sprewell, I will wreck you, and then I might put my hands around your neck. Okay, just like Charles Sprewell.
I'm a Mario Kart guy, but I respect it.
So anyways, gaming is the future. Ready Player One, that movie, the book, I'm telling you guys, it really is a glimpse into where we're going. I believe that for sure. Now, will everyone move to Columbus, Ohio? I've never read the book, but that's where they tell me it takes place. Probably not. But are we moving towards a world that really is a combination between the real, the physical, the virtual, the digital? And I believe that. Sandbox is a game very similar to Decentraland that has virtual real estate, but they've already got a game aspect built into it. We have property in that. We're going to be building the BitBoy comics, right? We're going to be building Digital City, which is BitBoy Crypto, not BitBoy Crypto, but BitBoy, the comic book superhero, right? That's how this channel started. We're building his world on that land there. And this is a game that is very similar to like Minecraft. We have professional Minecraft builders that we've hired to come in and build this. The land that we have since the time that we bought it has already 6 or 7x'd, right? We're actually going to tokenize that land and sell smaller shares of it to other, the people that want to get involved and have a little bit of the space, because these sales are very exclusive. In 1 minute, all the land is gone, So we're going to be able to tokenize that and allow people to come in and get aspects, to get their own land in that virtual world. And this is a new territory for me. I mean, this is stuff I'm not, I don't play multi, player games or MMORPGs. I don't even know what they call them. Okay. I don't get into that stuff, but the kids do. My kids love it. My kids are 5, 7, and 9. They love Fortnite. They love those open worlds. And they love Minecraft. They love all these games where you can create stuff. Because this is the thing. Like this, I'll leave you guys with this about Sandbox. And this is what I'm an early adopter on a lot of things, right? Even things that I don't really understand. Like I see where things are going, okay? This is one of the biggest things to me that changed the way that I see gaming, kids, the next generation, change the way I see everything, which is this. When I was a kid, we grew up playing Mario, right? I got a Nintendo when I was 6, Super Mario Brothers on the NES. My uncle showed me how to beat that game. He showed me how to get 100 lives on the third world, okay? He showed me all of that.
Showed me how to get laid, yeah.
Do you know my uncle? It's really weird. Okay. All right, so he showed me how to do that. I played that game. The greatest feeling of accomplishment I had at that age was when I beat the game, when I beat Bowser, when I got lucky to get to him big with a mushroom, and I just ran right through him, and it made me invisible for a second, and I won the game. I got that feeling of accomplishment. I always viewed video games, and this is why I've had a hard time like jumping on the, I don't like first person shooters. I don't like Call of Duty. I don't like all those kind of games like that. Why? Because there's just no end to it. There's no accomplishment in like the overall you grind and grind and grind. The way I spent 10 weeks as a kid trying to beat Mega Man 2 when I was 8, and I finally beat and I got the accomplishment. That's not how kids view video games anymore. That's why we don't have side-scrolling A to Z games. Video gaming now is completely social. It is all social. It's communication. It's the way kids, especially in a pandemic, relate and have friends. It's just a different world than we grew up in, that my generation grew up in. I'm 38. And so because of that, games like Sandbox that are out in the front of this, that can combine blockchain, this virtual real estate, the social aspect of gaming, the idea of building into one game, I think has got a lot of potential. And I really, I really love Sandbox. I think it's a great pick.
Appreciate that. You got a couple gray hairs for being 38.
Yeah, I do. Funny story. I actually have had gray hair since I was about 3rd grade. So about 8 years old. It was probably from Mega Man 2 because my dad would not let me rent Marble Madness, the brand new game at the time, until I beat it. And that's probably why I never gave up on this channel. Thanks, Dad.
Cool. Well, BitBoy, thank you so much for being with us today. Everybody, go subscribe to BitBoy. His links are in the description. What I liked, what I like about what you said is like you got to know when to get in and you got to know when to get out, because most of this is just based on speculation. And so I like how thoughtful you are with all this stuff. Thank you for being here, Austin. Anything?
No, Ned. I appreciate you coming on. Hope to be on your channel someday. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe sooner rather than later.
Maybe it's coming out next week. We don't know.
Maybe so. Maybe Saturday. Hey, I appreciate you guys so much. I just want to say thank you for having me on, and definitely love your audience. Is definitely a very polished audience, and I like that.
Hell yeah.